Before we start, I want you to imagine something. Imagine you are sitting with someone, maybe a friend, maybe a new person, maybe someone from another country. They look at you and they ask you a very simple question. So, what did you do last weekend? And suddenly everything changes. Your mind starts working fast. You try to remember words. You try to build sentences. You feel pressure. And then you say something like, I go to my friend's house and we watch a movie. And in that moment, you feel something inside you. Not confidence, not clarity, confusion. Yes, that is exactly what happens to me. I know what I want to say, but I don't know how to say it correctly. And let me tell you something very important. Listen carefully. That moment is the difference between understanding English and speaking English. Because speaking English is not about knowing words, it is about connecting your ideas in time. And today, we're going to focus on one of the most powerful tools in English, the past simple. Not as a grammar topic, not as rules, but as a way to tell your story. After 20 years teaching English, I discovered something very interesting. Students don't fail because they don't know English. They fail because they don't know how to talk about their life. And your life is mostly in the past. Think about your conversations every day. I woke up late. I had a problem at work. I met someone new. I watched a great movie. These are all past. So if you don't control the past simple, you cannot have real conversations. So if I learn this well, I can speak more naturally? Exactly. And not only that, you will feel more confident, you will speak faster, you will stop translating in your head. Because the past simple is not just grammar, it is a pattern, a rhythm, a way your brain organizes stories. Let's make it very simple. The past simple is used for finished actions in the past. But I don't want you to remember that like a rule. I want you to feel it like this. It already happened. It is done. It is complete. For example, I worked yesterday. I called my friend. I studied English last night. These actions are finished, closed, done. Now, here is something very important that many students don't know. The past simple is the language of stories. Every time you tell a story, you use the past simple. Listen to this. Yesterday, I woke up. I missed my bus. I called a taxi, but it arrived very late. When I arrived at work, my boss looked at me and he said nothing. Do you see what is happening? This is not grammar. This is a story. And every verb is in past simple. Walk, missed, called, arrived, looked, said. That is how English really works. Wow, that sounds more natural than just studying rules. Exactly. Because rules don't create communication, stories do. Now, let's understand how to build it, but in a simple way. There are two types of verbs: regular verbs, irregular verbs. Regular verbs. For regular verbs, you just add ed. For example, work, worked, play, played, watch, watched, study, studied. For example, I watched a movie. I worked all day. Simple. And for irregular verbs, and this is very important part, these change completely. For example, when you say go in the past is went, have is had, eat, ate, see, saw, take, took. For example, I went to the store or I had a problem. Now listen carefully. Many students try to memorize long lists of irregular verbs. That is a mistake. That is a big mistake. We'll call it mistake number one: memorizing without context. If you memorize verbs like this: go, went, gone, eat, ate, eaten, but you don't use them in real sentences, you will forget them. Instead, do this: learn verbs inside stories. For example, yesterday I went to the park, I saw my friend, we ate pizza. Now your brain connects meaning plus emotion plus action, and you remember faster. Here's a secret tip from my 20 years of teaching. And here's something most teachers don't tell you: your brain remembers stories, not lists. So if you want to improve your past simple, stop studying verbs alone. Start telling small stories every day. How to think in past simple. This is also very important. And this is a real secret. Not grammar, not rules. Thinking in past simple. Most students do this. They think in their own language. They translate to English. They try to fix grammar. This is slow, stressful, and confusing. Instead, train your brain like this: think directly. Yesterday, I woke up late. I went to work. I had lunch. Simple ideas, clear timeline. So, I should think in small sentences. Exactly. Short sentences is fast speaking. Fast speaking is confidence. Now let's go with the big mistake number two. That is using present instead of past. Many students say, yesterday I go to the store. This is wrong. Why? Because yesterday is past. So the verb must be in the past. So the correct way to say this sentence is yesterday I went to the store. And the big mistake, number three, is forgetting did in questions. When you ask questions in the past, you must use did. Did you go to work? Did you see that movie? Not did you went? Did you go? You have to be very careful with that. And now, the big mistake, number four, negative sentences. Negatives are simple. Did not, or the contraction that is didn't, plus the base verb, the verb in base form. For example, I didn't go. I didn't understand. Don't say I didn't went. That is not correct. Remember, didn't or did not plus the base verb or the verb in the base form. Now, how to talk about your experiences? We are talking about real English. Let's go deeper to this. This is where your English becomes powerful. When you talk about your experiences, use time expressions. Time expressions are very important. Expressions like yesterday, last night, last week, last year, when I was a child. For example, when I was a child, I played soccer every day. This is natural English. And let me give you a real example. Last weekend, I visited my parents. We talked for hours. We cooked together and we watched a movie. It was simple, but it was a good day. This is not advanced English, but it is powerful. Yes, it sounds very natural because it is real. Now, I want you to do something now. Don't wait. Don't think too much. Answer this. What did you do yesterday? And use simple sentence, okay? What did you do yesterday? Just answer the question. Okay, I will try. Yesterday, I woke up at 7. I went to work. I had lunch. And I watched a video at night. Perfect. Simple, clear, natural. That is speaking English. Let me leave you with this idea before we continue. You don't need perfect English to tell a story, to tell your story. You need clear English. And the past simple is your first step to real communication. We're going to go even deeper. We will talk about how to tell better stories to sound more natural, how to connect ideas, and how to speak without fear. Because speaking English is not about being perfect, it is about being understood. I'm excited for that because I really want to speak more naturally. And you will. But first, you need to understand your past because your story is just beginning. Okay, you understood something very important. The past simple is not just grammar, it is your tool to tell stories. But now I want to help you move to the next level. Because knowing how to form sentences is not enough. Many students can say, I went, I saw, I did, but they still sound robotic, unnatural, or limited. So the question is not only can you use the past simple, but the real question is can you use it like a real speaker? Because real communication is not only about correct sentences, it is about flow, emotion, and clarity. Let me show you something. Many students speak like this. Yesterday, I went to the store. I bought food. I came home. I watched TV. Is it correct? Yes, it is. It is correct. Is it natural? Not really. Why? Because it sounds like a list. There's no connection, no feeling, no flow. Now listen to this. Yesterday, I went to the store because I needed some food. After that, I came home and I watched TV for a while because I was very tired. Do you feel the difference? The second one has connection. It has reason. It feels like real life. If you want to sound natural, you must connect your ideas. And here are some simple but powerful connectors. And then, after that, because, so, but. For example, I woke up late, so I missed my bus. Then I called a taxi, but it was expensive. Now your English starts to feel alive. So the problem is not only grammar, it's how we connect ideas. Exactly. Grammar is just the structure, but communication is how you organize your thoughts. Let me teach you a simple structure that I use with my students after many years of teaching. This is something very powerful, and almost nobody teaches it in this way. Every good story has three parts: beginning, problem, result. Let me show you. Yesterday, I went to the gym. Everything was normal at first, but suddenly I felt a strong pain in my leg. So I stopped. I rested for a few minutes and then I went home. Do you see it? The beginning is I went to the gym. The problem is I felt pain. And the result is I stopped and went home. This is simple English, but very effective. Now let's take it to another level. Most students forget something very important: emotion. Listen, I went to a restaurant. The food was good. Now listen to this. I went to a restaurant, and honestly, the food was amazing. I really enjoyed it. Same idea, different impact. When you add emotion, your English becomes human. Many students speak like this: I went out, it was good. That is too basic, too empty. Instead, add details. I went out with my friends and we talked for hours. It was a really good night. Now the listener can imagine your experience. Now, how to expand your ideas easily? Here's a simple trick I teach my students: add one more sentence. Very powerful. Always. If you say, I watched a movie, then add, it was very interesting, or I didn't like it. This makes your English richer immediately. I watched a movie. It was very interesting. I watched a movie. I didn't like it. It makes it more natural, more native. One of the best ways to practice past simple is to talk about your childhood. I'm sure you're wondering why. Because it is emotional, it is personal, and it has many stories. For example, when I was a child, I played outside every day. I didn't use my phone because I didn't have one. I spent time with my friends and we enjoyed simple things. This is beautiful, simple English. Now, speaking about your experiences, about past experiences, this is real life English. Let's talk about experiences, okay? You can say, I traveled to another city. I worked in a difficult job. I met someone interesting. But again, don't stop there. Expand. I traveled to another city last year, and it was my first time there. I felt nervous at first, but then I really enjoyed it. Now you are telling a story, not just giving information. And here's a hidden mistake that is talking too fast without a structure. Some students try to speak fast, but they lose clarity. They say many things, but they don't organize their ideas. Slow down. Think in small parts. Build your story step by step. Good speaking is not fast speaking. Good speaking is clear speaking. And here comes an advanced tip, but easy to apply. It's something I learned after many years of experience. Repetition is natural in English. Students think they need many different words, but that is not true. For example, I went to a party and the party was very big. The party had a lot of people and the party was very fun. Is it perfect? No, but it is clear, natural, easy. Clarity is more important than variety. Now, I will give you a simple routine, okay? If you do this every day, your English will improve faster than you think. Every night, before sleeping, ask yourself, what did I do today? And answer in English. Speak out loud if possible. For example, today I woke up early. I worked all day. I talked to a friend. And I watched a video. Do this every day. Your brain will start thinking in past simple automatically. And let me tell you something very honest. Most students don't have a grammar problem, they have a confidence problem. They are afraid of making mistakes. But listen carefully. Mistakes are part of communication. Even native speakers make mistakes. What matters is this: can people understand you? If the answer is yes, you are communicating. Now, I want you to think about something deeper. Your past is not just grammar, it is your life, your memories, your experiences, your lessons. And English is just a way to share that with the world. When you learn to talk about your past, you're not just learning English, you're learning to express who you are. That really changes how I see it. It feels more personal now. Yes, because language is personal. So now I want to leave you with something very simple, but very powerful. Tonight, or right after this, take 1 minute and answer this question in English. What was the most interesting thing that happened to you recently? Again, what was the most interesting thing that happened to you recently? Don't think too much. Don't try to be perfect. Just to speak or write because your story matters. And the moment you start telling it, your English truly begins.